Welcome back everyone, it's Jack here and I'm back with another DJI Mini 3 Pro video today. And this is my favourite bit of tech at the moment with 4K 60 video recording, tri-directional obstacle sensing to help you avoid crashing into anything, and true vertical shooting with a camera that can rotate into portrait mode, which is perfect for sharing your footage straight to places like Instagram. Today we're going to take a look at some of the Mini 3's built-in shooting modes like MasterShots and QuickShots, and these are really useful for beginners like me who are still learning to fly manually. They just make it really easy to capture some big sweeping cinematic shots. And we'll take a look at the suite of FocusTrack modes which are used for tracking a subject. And these tools are all really useful, but there are some limitations and things that you should be aware of if you're thinking of picking up the Mini 3 Pro. So let's get started first with MasterShots. To access MasterShots, you tap the icon above the record button to open the menu, scroll down and you'll find it near the bottom of the list. From here you just drag and select a target in the viewfinder, select some parameters like how far, wide and high you want the drone to go around the subject, hit record and then the drone will fly off and perform a bunch of manoeuvres one after another in a single clip that's about 2 minutes long depending on the settings that you choose. You can then edit this clip and chop it up in post to create your own sequence, or blend it with other shots that you've taken. Or you can select a template right in the DJI Fly app which will edit the video for you and add some music and text. But in my usage it can be a bit hit and miss with the parts of the clips that it uses in the edit. Sometimes it gives you something usable which saves you some time from putting it together yourself, but I wouldn't say that it does this reliably, and personally I'd just rather edit it myself. For someone still practicing and learning how to fly, I find MasterShots really useful as I don't really have to do anything and the drone does a pretty good job of getting some nice cinematic shots that I can use, if my manually recorded shots aren't quite up to scratch. But as I mentioned in my unboxing video, the Mini 3 doesn't have any sensors on the sides or facing directly upwards, so you do need to be aware of your surroundings and make sure that you're in a nice open space with no obstacles or people or animals which it could crash into when doing some of the orbital moves. The drone can auto-detect some subjects like people, and tapping the plus icon will automatically select them. But you don't have to choose a person as a subject, you could just manually select a building or just a spot on the ground. Now if you don't want a lot of moves performed all at once, you just want one or two, that's where the QuickShots feature comes in. With QuickShots you choose a move you want from the menu, select your subject, hit go and have the drone do its thing. The 6 modes here include Droney, where the drone flies backwards and ascends with the camera locked onto the subject, great for revealing a viewpoint or vista. Rocket, which ascends the drone while gradually tilting the camera towards the ground, flying high up into the sky for a bird's eye view. Circle has the drone circle around you or whatever subject you've selected. You can also choose a direction. Helix, which is similar to Circle, but this time the drone ascends and spirals around the subject. Boomerang, which has the drone fly around the subject in an oval-shaped path, ascending as it flies away from the starting point and descending as it flies back. And lastly, Asteroid, where the aircraft flies back and upwards and takes a bunch of photos and stitches them together to create this tiny world look. Once more, you have some parameters you can set during the setup process which affect the drone's distance with each move and how long the finished clip will be. And again, you do need to make sure that you're in a nice open area and look out for anything that the drone could collide with. The shots look really cinematic and I am a big fan of the Droney, Helix and Boomerang modes. All the modes only take a few seconds to set up and complete, with the exception of Asteroid, which has to take a bunch of photos in the air to stitch together at the end of the move. Just to mention as well, it was really windy up on this hill when I shot these. You can see how much the grass and the trees are moving. And I did get a couple of high wind alerts in the DJI Fly app. The Mini 3 Pro is incredibly light, under 249 grams, so it can sometimes get moved about a bit in high winds which might be noticeable in your shots. So that's something to be thinking about too when you're flying, but it's not something that's happened to me very often so far. When it does, you can usually smooth the footage out in post using stabilisation. For the most part though, it's been really steady in the air considering its size and weight. But there is one thing here which is missing, and I'm really hoping that DJI will add it in a firmware update down the line, and that's support for these modes when using the new portrait camera. Currently, if you're in portrait mode and you try to select either MasterShots or QuickShots, it just won't let you, and it seems like this is a bit of an oversight considering how great these modes are for just getting some quick shots which would be perfect for uploading to social media on the go. You could shoot these in landscape and crop them into portrait, but that adds an extra step in the line and you're not making use of the whole sensor, and it just makes the new portrait camera seem like a wasted opportunity. I am hoping that it's just because they need to do some work to get these modes working properly in portrait mode. This is the first DJI drone in 6 years to have a portrait camera again, so they'll likely have to tweak their software to get it working properly. And fingers crossed that support gets added, but as of right now, you can't use MasterShots or QuickShots in portrait, which is a bit disappointing. Another really useful tool when shooting video is FocusTrack, a suite of tools including ActiveTrack 4, Spotlight 2 and Point of Interest 3, all of which are activated in the standard video mode by drawing a box on screen to select a subject. Once a target is found, the drone defaults into Spotlight mode, which keeps the aircraft stationary and follows the subject with the camera by turning the drone. But you can manually take control here and fly around while keeping the camera locked towards the subject, helping you perform some more advanced camera moves which would be more difficult if you're having to manually track the subject yourself. Next is ActiveTrack, which has 2 modes, Trace and Parallel. Once you've selected your subject, Trace will have the drone follow the subject from behind while keeping a constant distance, altitude and angle from the direction of the subject, while bypassing any obstacles that might be in the way. You can set your framing and composition so you don't have to keep the subject in the centre of the frame, and it also works while walking towards the drone as well. In my testing, it's been doing a really good job of tracking me, even on uneven ground as I run down this steep hill. It doesn't look that steep on video, but it really was. And I wanted to see how it would handle following me under these trees. I wasn't sure if it would even do it, but to my surprise it did. I kept an eye on it and it avoided the various branches that got in the way. It did get quite dark under here, but it didn't lose track of me and it managed to follow me out the other side just fine. The second mode is Parallel, which tracks and follows you from the side so you can show off a nice vista as you're walking along. But again, there are no side sensors, so you do need to make sure that there's nothing that the drone might hit. Don't do what I did and let it crash into a tree. I do wish though that there was a way to dial in how sensitive the drone is to the movement of the subject. When I've been tracking myself walking, I've noticed that the camera will sometimes bob up and down a little as I'm walking on uneven ground. So it's definitely something that I'd like to see as an option added in future firmware, allowing you to sort of tweak the tracking and give it some leeway as it follows the subject. Both of these modes can be used to track cars while driving too, but I've not had a chance to test it out for myself just yet. And lastly, there's Point of Interest, where you choose a subject, set a direction for the drone to circle around in, and choose a speed. Once you hit go, the drone will continue to orbit around the subject until you hit stop. And this is great for circling around a building or something interesting that you find in the landscape. But once again, none of the FocusTrack modes work using the portrait camera, so you are going to need to crop your landscape video into vertical if you're wanting to post some tracking shots like these on Instagram Reels or Stories. If you want to see some more test footage that I've shot, then head over to the channel Instagram at JCKRGB and check the Reels tab. It's also worth noting that in all of these modes, you're limited to a maximum of 30 FPS, you can't shoot at 60. MasterShots and QuickShots are great just for firing off the drone and getting some nice cinematic footage without too much input. And as you're not flying the drone yourself, you can hide the controller away somewhere in your pocket, so when you're filming yourself, you can make the shots look a bit more natural. ActiveTrack does a really good job of following the subject, even in some really tight spots, and Spotlight makes it easier to perform some more advanced drone moves while keeping the subject in the frame for you. I'm really hoping that DJI updates the firmware so that all of these modes work with the new portrait camera, but as it stands right now, they don't, which is a shame as it's one of the drone's newest features and it's something that makes it stand out from the rest of DJI's current lineup. We'll just have to wait and see if it gets added. If you've enjoyed this overview of some of the Mini 3 shooting modes, then hit the like button and let me know. And if you'd like to follow me on my drone journey as I learn to fly and see more videos like this, you can hit subscribe and the bell. I will still of course be making other tech content too, it's not just going to be drone stuff, so stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.